Stop feeling like I'm trapped in my damn mind. Stop feeling like I'm wrapped in a damn lie. Stop feeling like my life is a damn game. Nigga really wanna die in the nighttime. I don't know if I mentioned this in the past or in any kind of other channel, but I am a massive fan of A Nightmare on Elm Street. It and Child's Play have been my favorite horror franchises, movie-wise, aside from Five Nights at Freddy's. And we haven't seen Freddy Kruger, unfortunately, since 2010. And film-wise, he made some appearances as a main antagonist in Dead by Daylight or in Street Fighter, using this version of Freddy Kruger now I'm about to talk about. However, that all started with the 2010 remake. The 2010 remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street I wasn't around for because I was a little baby when it happened. But this remake was so hated and such a pariah that it fucking killed the franchise. The teasers leading up to this, by the way, go hard as fuck. And the lyric for this movie was important because this was going to be a new Freddy for a new generation. Robert Englund, the guy who has played Freddy in every single appearance he's in, didn't return for this remake. And the creator Wes Craven wasn't involved either. And I think he passed away sometime after this remake because he was still around before this. However, related to this remake, I did have some favor for it because with Freddy Krueger, his powers allows him to invade the dreams of the living and transform them any way he wants it. I'm not going to go over a plot overview, but rather I'm going to go over just a general concise of my thoughts of the remake. First things first, this color palette I think is extremely dull. The original Nightmare on Elm Street films were bright and vibrant. They were trying to go for more dark and serious, but it splashes out the color from the remake. But on that note, I do like this version of Freddy Krueger. Listen, Robert Englund will forever be Freddy Krueger in my eyes, but Jackie O'Haley I do think does a good job as Freddy. Now, a writing decision later is what fucked up the character. But for this Freddy himself, I love the way he looks in the darkness. I love the glove. I love the little thing he does with it. All of his posters and teasers go hard as fuck. And another thing I do like is how he transformed to Freddy. We see human Freddy, who has a gone at the preschool, we'll get into that in a bit, running, screaming, and hiding from the parents. The dad, who is Byron Clancy Brown, so yes, Freddy Krueger has beef with Mr. Krabs. He used a fire oil into the basement he's hiding in, and then catches alive and burns him alive. To which there was a deleted scene where he was for some reason taken to the hospital, and when he was trying to gasp for air, he ended up dying, and that's how he became Freddy Krueger. I wish I kept the scene because while it was somber, it's not really super dead because of what he did. Another detail I like is when they're in the pharmacy, where Nancy sees the pharmacy, Freddy kind of vaguely appears, and then flashes to the boiler room, and then the giant swipe he does when Nancy's on the ground, and then it gets her in real life. The alternate ending, spoiler alert, the alternate ending was so much more impactful than the original. Where here, in the alternate ending, rather than simply just fighting Freddy in the human world and being done with it, he turns back into human on purpose because he wants to make it the way it was. Further traumatizing Nancy remind him of, well, we'll get to that in a minute. You'll see what. But still, it's a creepy performance even without the makeup. Now for the negatives. This movie tries to do a lot of shit from the original. Freddy coming out of the wall in the original was done with some cheap spandex. They do it with CGI, it looks terrible. The terrible head moving the wall, and then they put in the glove so you can see it's Freddy, just sucks. They tried to recreate a bathroom scene in the original. Freddy grabbed Nancy while she was in the bathroom. Her mom was on the other side trying to get to her. Here, Freddy gets in between Nancy's legs and tries to grab her. How the mom knocks on the door and he for some reason gets scared and ducks back down. Why did he get scared and duck back down? I don't know why, because he's fucking invisible. Okay, so y'all know that little backstory flashback I had with Freddy? Yeah, this is the biggest change. The main problem with the movie, Freddy Krueger himself. Okay, so Freddy in the original was a child killer. He worked in the factory of Elm Street, and he had a hatred of the children because when he was little, his mom was molested by the hundreds of maniacs she had to care for in the asylum, giving Freddy the name of the son of 100 maniacs. He was adopted by an abusive drunk named Mr. Underwood who would abuse him. One day as a teenager, Freddy would snap, kill Mr. Underwood, and then while he would get his life together, having a daughter, getting married, and working unsuspectingly in the boiler room of Elm Street. At the same time, he still had hatred for the parents that bullied him, so he became the Springwood Slasher, but the parents found out he got away free since the judge got fat and the lawyers got drunk, so they burned him alive. Dream Demons contacted him, giving him the powers that he has today. And the original, so Freddy was originally supposed to be a Roblox YouTuber, let's just say that. But Wes Craven scrapped that because, well, there was a case of a bunch of child molestations going on, so he didn't want to seem like he was profiting off of that. The remake, how many years later? Like, let's just say like 2 or 3 decades later, they didn't have the same restrictions, so they went back to Wes Craven's original idea of making Freddy a child molester rather than a child killer. Have you seen any of my videos on stuff like Talia al Ghul? You would know that I hate when they make beloved characters like this and over-sexualize them. Look, I get that in the original there was still kind of that thing, like in Freddy vs. Jason, like where Freddy attacks the black chick in the movie, he's like, your face says no, no, but my mouth says yes, yes. But it came across as Freddy trying to drain as much power from them, because how Freddy's powers work is the more fear of him and the more kills he gets, the stronger he becomes. And that movie, Freddy was desperate for power because after his daughter kicked his ass and Freddy's dead, he lost his status and his power, so he had to savor every kind of kill he can get to get more powerful because Jason was hogging all the kills. Here, they overtly state it, and it just doesn't work at all. It also doesn't match with his crimes. Like, if Freddy was a diddler instead of a killer, why does he have a glove? The glove makes no purpose, and it's just there because it has to be. And they also do this bullshit of, like, is Freddy innocent? Like, was he actually a killer, or was he actually a molester? And this is brought up, like, halfway through, and then, like, they find the boiler room, and it's just like, oh, no, nah, he was guilty. It's just, like, a waste. Like, you show this whole flashback of him burning alive. You have this deleted scene, which I know is deleted, but it shows a wounded, hurt man who tries to breathe and then he dies. But it's like, why did you show all this just to go, nah, fuck him, he's evil? It reminds me of the Rob Zombie Halloween films, which I might cover those one day because those movies are generally so missed potential because of the shitty writing. But I think this would work better if Freddy was innocent because that could have been unique and could have been different. But they didn't have the balls to do it, so they just did this and it just pale in comparison. And then the movie didn't get a sequel at all. It's the highest grossing Elm Street film. However, it did negatively with critics and audiences, says you can really never replace Freddy. Again, Haley was a good actor, but Robert just made Freddy who he is, especially if they were going to go in this detail and making it just unfun, because the whole point of Freddy is that he's fun, you're having fun along with him. Here you're not, it's just gross and uncomfortable. Like, they were trying to go for uncomfortable scary rather than actually spooky scary. It just doesn't work. Well, there's 2 types of horror: enjoyable horror and unsettling horror, and this was the latter, unfortunately. Overall, aside from Freddy's origin, I think this remake was fine. It's definitely not the worst horror remake I've seen, but still I can see why Freddy hasn't returned in years since. Although with the release of Scream 7, I really hope one day we can get Freddy Krueger back, because this version of Freddy Krueger was in Dead by Daylight and he was really good there, so if he was good there, I hope he can come back and become good again, but I wouldn't bet on that.